All right, today we're jumping into this really cool story, The Parable of the Echoing Core. And it's basically an allegory that asks a pretty fascinating question. What happens after you've already won? What if slaying the dragon, winning that huge epic battle, what if that's just the beginning of a much harder, way more confusing fight? Let's get right into it.
So this line, right here at the start, is the key to the whole thing. It just completely flips everything we expect on its head. I mean, we're all taught that slaying the dragon is the final boss, right? The end of the story. But this suggests that maybe, just maybe, that big, obvious physical enemy was just the warm-up act for the real challenge. So, let's set the scene. The big war is over. The old, oppressive system, what the story calls the ceiling, has been totally shattered. Our hero, Maximus, is victorious. But the silence that comes after, it's not peaceful. It's unsettling. Just picture it for a second. Maximus is standing there, victorious, in the middle of all these ruins. The enemy is literally ash. The sky is clear. This should be the moment of pure triumph, you know? But the vibe isn't celebratory at all. It's quiet. Way too quiet. And you just get this feeling that something is deeply, deeply wrong. And then it happens. As the world starts to recover from this crystalline ice storm, a new vibration starts. And you gotta pay attention to where it's coming from. It's not a new monster dropping out of the sky. No, it's coming from the very foundations of the world he thought he'd already conquered. The real trouble is coming up from below. So, what in the world is this new signal? What is this echo that Maximus is picking up from the deep? Well, this is where the story introduces a completely new kind of enemy. This new frequency is called a silver-violet resonance, and the language here is so important. The old enemy, the dragon, was all about heavy gravity, a straightforward, oppressive weight that you could physically push against. This new thing, it's a fluid coldness. It's subtle, it's everywhere, and it's way harder to fight because it's not some solid wall you can just punch. And this creepy resonance is coming from a place called the Refractive Citadel. Now, think about that name. It's not a fortress made of stone. It's built from obsidian and glass. It's basically a giant hall of mirrors. Its whole purpose isn't to block your power, but to reflect it, to distort it, and to turn a hero's own strength right back against them. So just as Maximus is trying to wrap his head around this strange new echo, a new figure shows up. But this isn't another warrior ready for a fight. No, this is a messenger, a harbinger, who's here to explain the new rules of the game. The way this harbinger is described tells you everything. No armor, no weapon, just these shimmering robes that seem to just swallow the light. This is not a creature of brute force like the old guard was, the thou shalt of the past. This figure represents a totally new kind of power, one that's way more subtle, elusive, and honestly, maybe even a little seductive. And here's the core message the harbinger delivers. You've defeated the law of weight, but now you face the law of the mirror. What that really means is that the fight is no longer about beating some external enemy. The battle has officially moved inward. This chart just lays it all out so clearly. It really highlights the massive shift here. The enemy goes from being a dragon, a physical beast, to a mirror, something that only reflects. The law changes from weight to the mirror, from a force that literally holds you down to one that just confuses you. But look at the bottom two rows, because this is the most important part. The test isn't about strength anymore. It's a test of spirit. And the main adversary isn't the spirit of gravity, but the spirit of distraction. Now think about what that means. It's the force that turns every big victory, every profound moment into a fleeting spectacle, a piece of content, a commodity to be consumed before we all just move on to the next shiny thing. That is the new battlefield. Okay, so how does this new threat actually show up? I mean, it's not a monster you can go fight. Instead, it's a kind of corruption of the very victory that Maximus just won. The harbinger asks this absolutely devastating question. Maximus brought them freedom, the lightning, but what do you do when people take that freedom and don't use it to lift themselves up, but instead use it for petty destruction? What happens when your greatest gift gets twisted and totally misused? And right away, we see the consequences. The people who are called the last men, they don't use this new freedom to become sovereign, independent individuals. Oh no. Instead, they start scavenging the broken pieces of the old tyranny to build new, smaller, personal prisons for themselves. They don't become free. They become fragmented tyrants in their own little lives. So this brings us to the true identity of the new enemy, The spirit of distraction. It's the force that takes something really profound, like a hard-won victory for freedom, and turns it into a shallow spectacle. It basically commercializes the revolution, making it just another product in a hollow marketplace. And in doing that, it completely robs the achievement of all its meaning. All of this leads Maximus to a final, pretty chilling realization, and it perfectly sets the stage for the next chapter of his journey. The battle is so far from over. In fact, it's really only just begun.
You see, the fundamental enemy never actually left. It just changed its form. The brute force mask of the dragon is gone, and it's been replaced by the subtle, reflective mask of the mirror. The challenge is still there, but now it's more deceptive than ever before.
And here it is. This is Maximus's big aha moment. He finally understands that the next battlefield isn't some physical place deep underground. The true depth is a battle of perception, of images, of the stories we tell ourselves. The fight is now inside the labyrinth of the mind.
So the story leaves us hanging with these two really profound questions. If the first battle was for control of the body, then who is the mastermind behind this new prison for the soul? And maybe more importantly, can the same power that shattered the old worlds, that lightning, be used to navigate this new one? Or will it just shatter all the mirrors and leave the hero blinded by his own reflection?